We are joined today by Lamont Jones, Democrat for Harrisburg Mayor. Why are you running for this office?
I think it's time for our city to have new leadership, a new direction, and a new voice. Being a lifelong resident here in the city of Harrisburg, I've been around for some of the good times, some of the bad times, and some of the not so good times as well. So I just think that our city needs a leadership that's really ready to lead us in a direction that we all can be included in.
What relevant experience would you bring to this office?
My ability to being able to connect, to be a bridge builder. I think that's one of the important roles as a mayor, to be able to have relationships, not only with your community, but the intergovernmental relationships, whether it's city council, whether it's the county commissioners, whether it's the governor. I think I have all of those relationships now, and being able to utilize them in a manner that reflects on the community that we want to serve. So I'll bring that skill set along with a plethora of other things, but I think that one right there is very important.
You are a member of Harrisburg City Council. Could you talk about your role?
Yeah, I'm currently the public safety chair, where there's quarterly reports that come into City Council. So I'm responsible for reviewing those reports, making sure that money is being allocated and spent in the right manner, writing ordinances or resolutions, passing resolutions that actually fit the community, again, that you serve and have an impact and effect on them. And then also being that conduit for constituent services.
What motivated you to run for City Council?
Man, how much time do we have? What motivated me was a lot of the things that I saw that were wrong in the city of Harrisburg. How our streets were dimly lit, how our roads weren't taken care of, the dilapidated properties, the crime in the community. Being someone that's already been a part of the community in the nonprofit sector, working with our at-risk youth, working with the returning citizens, I seen where the deficits were. And I thought, I know a little bit about this. Why don't I just throw my hat in the ring? And I just didn't want to be a complainer. A lot of people complain about what's wrong, and it's very easy for us to do that. But they're willing to have the courage to step up and step into that role to actually have an impact on it. That's a whole different piece. But, I saw some of the deficits that were there, and I knew that I can help.
How does City Council and the Office of the Mayor work together? Well,
they should be working together. As of late, that hasn't been the case. And I think that's the effects that we're seeing in our community. If a system is built to work harmoniously, it's supposed to work together. If we don't work together, who's suffering? It's the people. But the City Council is responsible. They have a fiscal responsibility to make sure our money is being spent correctly, making sure it's going into the right place, and again, passing legislation that affects the people that we serve. Where on the other side of that, those are two separate offices. The administration, where you have the business administrator, the financial director, communications director, building and housing director, all of those different departments that are running is controlled by the mayor. And again, at council, we're supposed to make sure we're that oversight for those departments. Even though council doesn't have enforcement powers, I think we can be very influential in being the voice for the people that we represent.
You're the founder and CEO of Jones Resources, LLC. What does that organization do?
A plethora of things as well. So when I say resources can go from mentoring, from group facilitation. I'm a certified life coach, certified recovery specialist, all of these different things. So an employment agency, a workforce development department, where I work with people that have challenges with the criminal behavior, returning citizens, at-risk youth, getting them prepared to be active members in society. So one of the things I was able to do with Jones Resources is work in the reentry space and connect with companies to give these individuals an opportunity, because I believe, and that's why I wanted to be a public safety chair as well, because I believe anyone that has gainful employment is less likely to go out and commit crimes. So being able to connect individuals that have that lack of funding or resources to provide for themselves or their families, out of necessity, you're going to get crime in any area. So I wanted to be able to build that bridge and walk people across it, connect businesses to business and people to businesses. That's what Jones Resources is about.
What inspired you to create this organization?
My own life experiences, as a young person, getting in trouble myself and feeling how, or knowing how hard it was for society to actually forgive you. When we live into society today that says we give people second chances, but when you pay your debt to society and you go out and try to get employment because of your past behavior or record, or people still will shut the doors on you. So out of my own experiences, I know what it feels like to not to be supported. I know what it feels like for someone not to believe in you. So I had to go pour into myself and re-educate myself, and place myself around other individuals that really were a supporting cast for me, or a space where individuals who believed in you and you believed in yourself. So me having those experiences myself, I knew once I got through it, I would be able to go back and walk people through the same process.
You mentioned having some struggles trying to find a job after getting in trouble, and you were almost kept off the ballot of running for city council due to a previous criminal charge. What happened, and how, as mayor, can you prevent that from happening with other people?
When you say what happened when?
Just the situation, like the process of getting on the ballot then.
Okay, the process of getting on the ballot, it's not a simple process. You have to get people you have to go out and get petitions filled, and people want to support you and your vision for the city. I think you need around 100 signatures to get on the ballot. So in the instance of me getting to city council and the troubles that I had, all of it was really moot. It was really moot. And because you have some politicals that are in place that have their hands in Harrisburg politics for a very long time, very influential, whether it's their money or influence through relationship, I just wasn't a part of the status quo, so I felt that I was the perfect person to go through this and walk through the fire. It would show other individuals that they also have the opportunity and the ability to go through it and not run away from it. I walked towards it. I won the primary in 23. And after the primary, that's when the challenges came from the Dauphin County Democratic Committee, which didn't make sense because the legal battle of that, which made it all moot, was you have a 7-day window period to actually challenge someone. So this year we had, it opened up March 11th for petition signing, and you had from March 11th to March 18th to challenge, rather it was residency, criminal past, or whatever. You had that window, and the law and the elections law in Pennsylvania code is very clear on that you only have that window. So once that window closed, you cannot come back, and so that's what happened to me in 23. But being though I had the resources to fight this, I had 48 hours to respond to their filing, and I had to have an elections code lawyer, not a criminal lawyer. I needed someone that understood the Pennsylvania elections code. So, it was a challenge, but I also learned a lot, and I think people in this community, people in this community really learned a lot about it. So I'm glad that the community stood up and stuck with me. They knew I was a good choice.
You're a graduate of the Martin Luther King Leadership Development Institute. Can you tell us a little bit about that program and what you learned?
Oh, man, I ended up being the speaker. I was elected the speaker by my peers, which I had a very powerful group in 2018. Martin Luther King Leadership Development Institute, I think it was founded by Mr. Reggie Guy, the late Reggie Guy Sr. You have Mr. Keith Ellison and Joe Robinson, which now you have a new leader, Mr. Merrick Green. Is actually the leader of it. But, I went into this program. Actually, I was working for Sound Community Solutions at the time, where I was mentoring, working with individuals coming home from prison. And, the boss of that company one day just told me, hey, I'm going to send you somewhere. And I was like, well, where are you sending me? He's like, don't worry about it, just go. And so I went and heard what MLK had to offer. And I came back to him and I told him, I said, hey, I think I'm going to like this. He said, I knew you would. So it was just about being a leader, actually showing you what Martin Luther King, I know over and over we hear about the I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. Martin was much bigger than that. He was someone that wasn't afraid to put himself on the line, to be arrested, to have these marches, even ultimately paying the price of losing his life to stand for what's right. And for me, I learned that there's other ways that you can fight. As I was fighting for our youth on the corners, in the communities, working with our youth in the schools, I knew that there was a different calling. There's another way that I can help. And city council seemed to be that way. And now, not that this is exhausted, but I see that I can tell you in the first 4 months of being on city council, I knew I had to move on from there because I seen, again, what the deficits were and why our city isn't working. So it just taught me how to fight scholarly and intellectually and not in a physical sense, just learning your craft, understanding your subject matter, and being committed to doing such.
Between city council, your organization, and you mentioned, I know, going into schools and hanging out with younger people, what exactly inspired you to want to give back to the community in those ways?
Again, I believe I come from a family of servitude, and not only that, there was plenty of examples for me in my life growing up. You will hear a lot of the times that people would think that it starts in the home, which we all can agree. However, when mom and dad is at work, there's idle time for that youth to be outside, and there's influence that's out there waiting for that child, and that's what happened to me. But then there were also individuals that really cared, that really knew that they were, we can be heading down this path. It was just up to us to listen. So after going through that, and I had to pay homage to the Des Manguses, the Sherman Cunninghams, the Coach Cams, the Caba Brunsons, the Jimmy Joneses, all of these guys, the Coach Chiz, all of these guys put plethora of time in with us as youth, heading down the wrong path. So I think standing on their shoulders, I'm obligated, and I think anyone in the community is obligated to do something to help the people in the community.
You mentioned being a Harrisburger your whole life and watching the city evolve over time. What was it like growing up there?
Oh, it was great. I loved Harrisburg. Not that I don't now. I'm pretty frustrated with the way things are. And I also say even the conditions that we look at, the conditions in our city, they seem dire. However, I am very hopeful and inspired because I know that there's opportunities for us to change that. But being in the community of Harrisburg as a young man, we all talk about the old African adages that it takes a village. I saw it. I remember the Town reunions where every part of the city would congregate at Sunshine Park, and there was no fights. There was beer, horse riding, basketball games. There were a whole bunch of things for children to do, and everybody from every section of the city would come together. We hear a lot of people talk about when someone committed an offense in the community. By the time you got home, you already had 3 butt whoopings. And then when mom and dad got home, you got some more. So that's what I saw growing up. I seen people able to provide for their families through some of the companies that were here and that were producing, actually giving people a job to have a better quality of life. And I've slowly seen that reduce to what we have today. And to me, some of that is just a reflection of the leadership.
Your campaign slogan is New Vision, New Voice, New Direction. How would your time as mayor differ from previous administrations?
For one, I don't think if you can find anywhere in history that you were endorsed by city council, that's powerful. What that tells you is that we're going to have an administration and a council that's actually working together to actually pass the things that the people need. So when I say new voice, new vision, new direction, the theme is new. We have to find a new way to do business. It's very attractive for developers to come into the city of Harrisburg. But what about the businesses? These local businesses are the ones that can be the actual fuel to our economy. And if we're not putting the resources are there. But we have to put those resources in the places that we know that would be the most impactful, and not just giving it to a friend or, a relative or, anyone that just wants to do a business not in the right way. So for me, this is a great opportunity for us to do something new and not do it the way that we saw for the last at least 30 years. Mayor Reed, if I may, was a visionary. He came in, he moved our city forward. He came in '83. He had a tenure of 28 years. Was he good? Yes, he absolutely did a lot of great things. He gave us City Island. He gave us Restaurant Row. He gave us the Hilton. He gave us SciTech. He gave us Harrisburg University. He gave us a whole bunch of things. But in the midst of that, I think some people look to make careers out of politics, and that's okay. I'm just not one. Me, I have a 10-year plan that I believe I can get done in 8. So I'm only looking to do 2 terms and have a succession plan, making sure that we can put someone in place that really has the same care, love, compassion, and empathy for the city of Harrisburg. So when I look back at that, it's just time for something different. No administration after Reed moved this city forward 1 iota. We have a comprehensive plan. We have a financial plan. And I just don't think any of those things have been implemented. From being on the inside and being able to look and see that, I think our people deserve better. So new voice, new vision, new direction.
Your website says you want to be a voice for everyone. Who do you feel right now is lacking representation in Harrisburg?
Everybody. I think we all are. There's no specific ethnic group. I think we're all feeling the same pain. Whether it's from our schools, and that's another important thing. You got to make sure you have, if anyone wants to move to any city, the first thing I would look at as a young parent and I want to look at the schools and see how my child is going to be educated. So I think there's work to be done there. I have those relationships over there. That's another big piece to this puzzle, where everyone else is doing their own thing in these other spaces. But I think we all are feeling the pain. Rather it's the Bhutanese community, if it's the Islamic community, or if it's the Palestinian community, if it's the Jewish community, if it's the Black community, Latino, or white community. We all are feeling the same thing. So I think having that holistic approach and that inclusivity with everyone, that's the goal here.
What are your plans to make the city safer?
One of the things that we can do, I know we look like we have a shortage of police officers, and we are down. But the culture of policing needs to change. In 2025, the police shouldn't be policing. Our community should be empowered to police our community. So one of the things we've been able to do the police advisory board, and we have some people that are very interested, which I'm reviewing, and council members are reviewing those applications. I think that's very important to repair the relationships between the police department and the community. There's an age-old war that's going on there, the us versus them. At one point, there were a lot of cops that were in the community. I was a young man that, we utilized POW. We utilized those police officers that walked in the community and got to know who individuals were. So I was less likely to run from a police officer when he knew who I was. If I was doing something wrong, they were able to talk to you, connect with you, and guide you. And I think that's what we need. We need to get back to actually communities policing our own communities. We don't have to have Big Brother in the sky, but I do think that there is some tools that we can use to surveil some of these hotspot areas that are causing some of the issues. But again, if we're providing opportunity for a lot of people, I'm sure that we can reduce the violent crime rate here in the city of Harrisburg.
Your website mentions economic development, and we were talking about businesses a bit in Harrisburg. Anyone who walks down 2nd Street can see that tons of places have closed. What do you think is causing these closures?
Well, again, we know what Restaurant Row was based off in the design. It was based off of the state workers and the foot traffic that came in. After COVID, COVID did a lot of damage, to a lot of people and in a lot of places. But I also saw in COVID it being another great opportunity to change the way that we did business, right? So we just didn't adjust. And I don't think that these administrations adjusted to that. You depended on the workers. You wanted the state to bring these workers back into that space, and it's just not there. So what you have to do is reinvent the culture. I've already been speaking with the business owners, the newly people that bought Tom Sawyer, Federal Tap House, Nocturnal, and all of the other entities down there. We have to change the culture, and I think those businesses that are committed to staying there, we can use them as a catalyst to actually change the culture of downtown, and we really can do that.
As mayor, how would you encourage new business to come to the city?
Well, if we looked at, the developers, like I said before, the developers come in, we would have something like LERTA, which we would use tax credit. I wouldn't so much go to that space because that really didn't help the city in the way that people think it would. So again, being creative on how you do business. One of the things that I've learned from the business owners after talking with them is that there's a lot of red tape that they have to cut through. There's a lot of barriers that are in the way, rather it's code, zoning, ordinances, and that's something that we have to look to make it attractive for those individuals and not have to jump through so many hoops to come do business here in the city of Harrisburg. That's one of the ways that we can do it. But again, actually sitting down at the table with the business owners as a whole and working through this. Who's committed to changing the culture here? And I'm sure that we can bring the foot traffic back, but it just doesn't have to be based off the state workers this time.
What is the housing situation currently like in Harrisburg?
It's tough. We need apartments. We need affordable housing. We just had some properties built up on Allison Hill, on Regina, about 50 properties. Great job by TLC. And you have what's happening on the corridor of 6th Street. George Fernandez just purchased some property on 18th for her to build some more property there. I think there's a shortage, but then there's also a huge land bank that the city has. So I actually introduced last year at City Council a program that we want to be able to implement, where we can sell young families and young people in that moderate income medium a property for $1. And we will partner with another company that will come in because most people can't get a non-traditional mortgage. I mean, they can't get a traditional mortgage. Their credit scores are down. They have no collateral. They really don't have the education to even maintain home ownership. So everybody's not going to go into home ownership, but those that do want to, we want to be able to teach them, help them get to that space, and help them thrive. Because once we sell someone a house for $1 through the city's land bank, before we knock down all of these dilapidated properties, let's go out and take a look and see if the structure is there, if the bones are still good. And if that is the case, we can partner with this company out of New Jersey. It's called NACA. They will come in and give you up to $150,000 to rehab that home. So what is happening at that point? 3 things are taking place. A new homeowner just got a home, which is a building block to generational wealth. Secondly, we are cleaning up the environment. So I've also been studying a methodology where you can eliminate crime by environmental design, right? So that's one of the ways people take more pride in home ownership. If their neighborhood's clean, the trash, brightly lit areas, those are another thing that we can do. But it also what does the city get out of it? We put this home back on the tax roll, all right? So now you have a family having home ownership, you're beautifying a neighborhood, and the city is also getting something out of it by getting those tax dollars back. You can apartment living downtown. Again, once I think we need more places downtown where people can actually live. We have a riverfront. I mean, I can sit here for 2 hours or 2 days and talk to you about the vision that I have and the team that I will have around me to make this vision come to fruition. We have a riverfront. In most places I go, they have a river walk. Riverfront is a beautiful place. We change the greenery. There's so many things, businesses along the riverfront. We can really, it's time. New vision, new voice, new direction. So building the housing, we definitely need it. Making sure that we're really responsible with our land bank and doing the right thing and educating the people and empowering the people to be a real solid part of our economy.
As mayor, you would have to manage budgets. How much experience do you have doing something like that? Well,
being a business owner since 2000, I've owned a bingo hall. I had a cleaning company. I have Jones's Resources right now, and have experience at watching the city's budget. Right now, the city's budget is about $87 million, and if you add the COVID money to it, it's about $109 million. And once the COVID money is spent, we'll drop back down to 75, 80, somewhere around there, and a lot of that money will be going to the fire and the police, which is common in most places. So being able to budget is a powerful thing, and just knowing how to understand it is even more powerful. But not many people do their own taxes, right? So what you do is get the professionals to come in, and that would be the smartest thing that you can do. I won't say that I can tackle this alone. We really have to go line by line, see where things are allocated, see where things are missing, and we can look and reconfigure what some of those monies are, where we're wasting money at and it's not impactful, and move those dollars. That's what I've been able to do at council. We've been very influential in studying that budget, and I think that's important for a city of this size, that you have someone at the helm that really pays attention to that.
You're one of 5 Democrats in this primary. What makes you stand out from the other candidates?
That I owe no one. I'm not a part of the status quo. I owe the people. There's no one backing me. There's no one pulling my strings. This is pure purpose, and it's very hard when people to find their purpose. But when you find your purpose, I tried to run away from my purpose so many times, but now I can't get away from the purpose. No matter which way I try to go, it puts me back on this line. I think I love this city more than anyone on this ballot. I've had sweat and tears. People can see me. I'm accessible. I'm with them. And I continue to stand with them, be very visible and accessible as much as possible for the people in the community. And I don't think anyone that's on this ballot can say that more than me.
What are some things the people of Harrisburg told you they would like to see in a mayor?
Someone, again, that is accessible, someone that is paying attention, someone that cares. You know, we've had a lot of violence going on. Again, if I can for a second, go back to what Mayor Reed, part of his legacy, not only some of the things that he did, but you remember he was always, and I mean always, on the scene. Whether it was 3, 4 in the morning, whether a fire was, it was him. He was out there. He was on the scene. Now, I'm not going to say I can do every last thing, but for the most part, that's my intentions. That's something that I learned from him, to make sure that you are there and accessible and not separate yourself from the people because of the politics. It's people over the politics. That's my vision. And I think that's what people want to see. A mayor that cares about them, a one that's not ruling with an iron fist with a velvet glove on, someone that knows what's happening and has a pulse on the city of Harrisburg. And again, someone that's willing to show up and fight for our city. No matter what happens outside in Washington, D.C. or any other place else, you need someone born and raised here. And a lot of them have been born and raised here, to my knowledge. You know, but again, I don't think no one is exuberated as much as compassion as I have in the city of Harrisburg. So, you know, I think the people really want to see someone that's strong, not weak, and not being persuaded by money or influence, someone that really cares.
Take the last few minutes just to tell people why they should vote for you.
Well, I think I just touched on it. You know, they want someone that's going to show up. I'm young enough to make the meetings. I'm young enough to run around in the community, to pull the people together. Being a conduit is not just something that you learn to do. I think this is really a skill set, the ability to bring people together. And that's something that I've been utilizing my whole life. My whole life, people can that they can attest to this. No matter where I go, out the country, I'm always able to connect with people. You know, when we leave and go other places, we want to stay on resorts. Me, I want to go into the culture. I want to see what they're eating. What music are they listening to? How does this work over here? You know, are there issues here? So I can avoid those issues or even be a possible solution for those issues. So I think the city of Harrisburg is ready for someone to guide us, again, with a clear and concise plan, and someone that is very serious about it. And I think the people of this city, even the ones that don't know me and are getting to know me, I think, you know, my aura exuberates the feeling of being genuine, being able to be supportive, be able to listen. You don't always have to dictate, and don't think that you can solve everything. That delegation, having the right people, and I think I've shown this over the years, and I think the people will speak on May 20th and let everyone know, and I think we'll be in a better place at that point.
Lamont Jones, Democrat for Harrisburg Mayor, thank you for your time.
Thank you.